Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another broadcast. Today I wanted to talk about Invincible Iron Man number 5, or more specifically, the book where Brian Michael Bendis continues to undermine his own character's credibility by trying to make her a Swiss Army knife of faux awesomeness. When we last left off, Riri Williams had defeated a handful of biohack ninjas and miraculously come up with a virus to take out the Techno-Golem that previously mopped the floor with Tony Stark and Rhodey. She did this within seconds, using a stranger's laptop and AI Tony's assistance in terms of getting an old suit of armor. This issue establishes that, yes, indeed, Riri Williams was on the money with her on-the-fly solution, as Techno-Golem's suit of armor explodes and the biohack ninjas are rendered inoperable. "How do you like me now?" she yells at the villain in a way that sort of translates, "Hi, my name is Brian Michael Bendis, and I'm a white guy who watches Will Smith action movies and then tries to replicate his behavior with my, quote, strong black female characters." But I digress. Techno-Golem, out of her armor, then approaches Riri with a laser sword, and we flash back to before the hero's father died. Apparently, he was a fencing master in Chicago, I'm not joking, who comes from a long line of fencing masters. In his words, kinda like a Jedi. Riri tells her father she needs to work on her technology, and it's not disclosed whether she was ever really taught, or perhaps she was and she just didn't take it seriously enough. Bendis flashes back to the present, and just before the two clash, Pepper uses an armor hand to knock the villain out cold in one blow. Again, I'm not joking. S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up and is impressed, offers her a job, and then she says S.H.I.E.L.D. might be the devil. Moments later, she says, "Do you really think that if someone doesn't like how you do what you do, they're the enemy?" Oddly enough, Bendis may have been talking about himself and his fellow writers who demonize anyone who disagrees with them, creatively or politically. Again, I digress. A subplot in the story with Riri's mother shows her struggling with her daughter's desire to be a hero, particularly since the world has only shown her, quote, the back of its hand. E.g., a nice home, genius-level intellect, a father who comes from a long line of Jedi Master-like fencers, MIT educations, and superhero friends who all love her. Anyway, Riri wakes up from a deep sleep after the ordeal and tells her mother, "I think I might be able to do this," in regards to the superhero lifestyle. Why wouldn't she, when the writer has never put her in a position where she might, actually think about her own mortality? The issue ends with AI Tony visiting his old lab, and it turns out he might have gone full Ultron by deciding that humans are the problem with the world. Tune in next month for the issue where all sorts of heroes show up on the cover but never make an appearance. And Riri prances through the pages like a kid in the 1980s playing Nintendo with a Game Genie. Okay, instead of directly reviewing this book, since I've already sprinkled in plenty of commentary, I want to point to a recent article by Marvel's Senior Vice President of Sales, Print and Marketing, David Gabriel. He told ICV2 on March 31st that at the industry's recent retailer summit, he found them, quote, turning up their noses to diversity. He said, and I quote, "We saw that, and that's what we had to react to. Yes, it's all of that. Now the million-dollar question, why did those tastes change? I don't know if that's a question for me. I think that's a better question for retailers who are seeing all publishers. What we heard was that people didn't want any more diversity. They didn't want female characters out there. That's what we heard, whether we believe it or not. I don't know that that's really true, but that's what we saw in sales." Okay, once again, Marvel distorts the real argument in order to try and make people sound like racist, bigot sexists. The problem is not diversity, because a term like diversity in its most generic sense says nothing about whether it's good or bad. Diversity can be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing depending on the circumstances. Companies do not want a diversity of skill levels because they want a homogeneous level of skill. Excellence. If you were in a room with someone who wanted to kill you for being you, then you would not be tolerant of his legislative plans that would give him the state power to do so. Fans are not turning up their noses at diversity. They're turning up their noses at diversity politics that poisons the creative well and turns every character into a boring clone of perfection or near perfection. There is zero drama because the character kicks butt 24 hours a day. There is no emotional attachment because the character is always the wittiest in the room, the smartest in the room, the funniest in the room, and acts with a command and an authority that it took classic characters years to wield. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. Even if the art is great and the quality of the paper that the book is written on is good, the stories are fundamentally flawed because they have been marinated in partisan politics and the kind of ideology that turns legitimate criticism into, you just don't want diversity, and we have to react to that because of sales. Marvel is in denial. Brian Michael Bendis and his friends are in denial, and until they realize this, the books will continue to fail and falter and cause guys like me to balk when it comes to coughing up hard-earned cash. And that's a shame because we love the craft of storytelling and want the industry to thrive. That's about it for now, but as always, I'd like to hear what you think in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of Riri Williams, Invincible Iron Man, possible evil AI Tony, and Marvel's partisan politics in the comments section below. And as always, if you've liked what you've seen here, head on over to douglasernst.blog for more coverage just like this. See you next time.